Urban Media Today talks sports with Ray Porter Jr., Vince Butts, and Trevin A. Jones on Urban Media Today Radio.
It's game time!
It's Urban Media Today talks sports. Got my man Ray Porter Jr., got Coach William Greg Hoyt Jr., we got Keith Platt Jr., and we got David Clark, Jackson State, HBCU baseball, full of knowledge, going to drop gems. I disrespected him before we even got on the mic because I said Jaguar first, then I said Nashville, and I'm like, I'm not even in the state of Mississippi, and I'm not even at the right school.
It's
Well,
all
welcome,
good, though.
Mr.
It's all
Clark.
good.
We
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
you, brother.
Yeah.
So tonight, as you guys already know, we talk sports. We're going to talk a lot of sports. There's a lot of things going on. I just saw something that with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got a new head coach, and kind of like, what is that all about? You had the NCAA. Yeah, right? You had the NCAA football championship. What was that all about? So that blew me away. He had some NFL happenings going on. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but what was that all about? That was just blew me away with the playoffs and how that turned out last weekend. This weekend is the second weekend, is Saturday. So tonight we got some more playoffs with the NFL, some more things to talk about, and we're gonna focus on Mr. Clark a little bit more this show as well because I just can't wait to hear what he has to say about HBCUs, the future of HBCU baseball, how things are going, his experiences, that type of thing. So it's gonna be an exciting show, fellas. So Keith Platt Jr., I'm gonna throw it your way. Where do we start?
My Steelers we got beat on, man.
See, I wasn't even going there first, man. I was gonna let you go there first. Because the NFL this past weekend, was crazy. The Cleveland Browns came out, got up 28 points in the first quarter. Had you guys ever seen that before?
Never. I seen it on the Waterboy. What's that movie? That movie Waterboy. Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler. I said, man, what is this? We watching what's going on? This is a meltdown right here.
What I almost compare it to? Almost, it reminds me of when Doug Williams was in the Super Bowl against with the Redskins and the Denver Broncos, and he had that 35-point second quarter when he was dropping bombs and Timmy Smith scored a touchdown.
And this is after he got hurt, right?
Right. After he got hurt, Schrader came in, he came back out. But the thing about it was I was at that game covering it, and it just seemed like the world's longest first quarter. So
you talking about the Redskins game or you talking about the Steelers game? Which one were you at? You don't look old enough to be at the Redskins game.
Being that I'm only 48 and I was like 15 when the Redskins game happened. To the wild card game between the Steelers and the Browns. I covered that game as a media person, and I wasn't even done tweeting when the ball hopped over, shot straight over Roethlisberger's head into the end zone. It wasn't for somebody yelling, "Oh!" in the press box. Look, in Cleveland had already scored, Chief, 2 seconds into the game. I'm like, my tweet just seemed irrelevant at that point, but it was just like 28 points. It didn't even seem. It's only the first quarter.
Once been through the second interception, I just was kind of like, oh, it's just he got the jinx on him tonight. He's all messed up. I think once he missed that snap, it really threw him off his game, and it really seemed like they couldn't really get the wheels back on the bus. They just kept on snowballing, and it really was awful to see a professional organization like that that's highly regarded.
Right.
Crumble like that, and they didn't have any answer. The defense couldn't rally, offense couldn't rally. The offense coordinators they couldn't. Whatever they tried to do, it just seemed like, Cleveland had such a head start. They were able to do whatever they wanted to, and basically just sit on the route, stuff like that. So that was a pretty, for a pro organization, professionals to see them just feel hopeless. Man, it just got worse, and every minute in the second half, it just got worse. It seemed like it got worse. And then we threw that last interception, and it really looked like he just, it was like, hey, he realized like my time is up, and we all got a pitch count on us. We got Dave Clark on here, and he's a baseball guy. I know we all got a pitch count on us, and when the pitch count is over, and the fat lady starts singing, well, I can't say that anymore. That's probably incorrect. But when You can't sing no more.
Incorrect. That's a flag. I had a whistle out of blew the flag on you there, coach. That's a flag. There you go, Ray. With the yellow tie.
Well,
but what's interesting is the fact that, and we know stats only play part of the game. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it really means more when you win. But the fact that you could throw for 501 yards and lose, and we know most of it was garbage yards, but still, just the fact that you did, you know. Meanwhile, Baker Mayfield had just about 200 something, but he had no interceptions. He didn't make any mistakes.
Well, they play it on a short field. I mean, you know, when you throw interceptions, you know, coming out on the 20, 30-yard line, you only got 20 yards to go. I mean, heck, and you got a running back. I mean, their backfield is pretty dynamic. So they were able to kind of showcase that a little bit. But,
it was their night. It was their night. Can you say?
Yeah. Hats off to Vince, man. I gave you the blues all season about Cleveland, and now we laid the egg. It is what it is. Hopefully we bounce back next year. Still Steeler Nation, though, regardless.
Speaking of Vince partied so hard after that game, he's out sick right now. So
he partied like it was 1985.
No doubt. But let me ask you this question. And you said 501 yards. See, I'll leave it to you and Keith to find something special in the Steelers loss like that. But at the same time, there's nothing garbage about 501 yards in a football game. I'm gonna give Ben that 501 yards. That's going the length of a football field 5 times. I mean, so that's crazy. I mean, I'll give him credit for that. I just think it was a Steelers time. I mean, I think that, you know, somewhere along the line, I always bragged about that defense. Keith will know, Ray know, even Coach knows. I bragged about the Steelers defense, and for some reason, it was just the miscues threw everything out of whack. The defense, the offense, the chemistry just wasn't clicking. But kudos, and see, I have to say this. As much as I am not a Steelers fan, I respect the organization. I also respect Coach Tomlin. And this is where people will jump on Coach Tomlin and say, what happened with this, that? Do you know he's one of the winningest coaches in Steelers football history right now?
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, he may be close to being the winningest coach in Steelers football history at this point in time.
He's climbing. He's climbing the ranks, man.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, kudos to Coach Tomlin, but kudos to the Cleveland Browns. I mean, and they didn't even have their head coach there. That's what made it bad. I mean, your head coach is not even on the sideline. So we'll see what they got. Don't they got Kansas City next?
Yes, they do.
Young man by the name of Patrick Mahomes. We'll see what happens there. That's going to be interesting. Who else? Did anybody else impress you last weekend as far as the wins? I mean, the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, Keith. There goes that man again, Lamar Jackson.
LA Rams. Beware the Rams.
Okay, yeah, the Rams got a crazy defense. I mean, they got one of the. I know Coach was bragging about the Washington. I'm sorry, I almost called them Redskins. The Washington football team's front line maybe 2 weeks ago. They got a heck of a front line. But Aaron Donald in the middle of that Los Angeles Rams defense is just ridiculous. I mean,
Coach, you hear what the coach called him? Coach,
what do you call him?
The Terminator. He said the Terminator's going to be ready next week.
Well, we'll see.
He left early because of slight injury. Yeah.
What about this game coming up between Drew Brees and Tom Brady? Ooh, that's over 150,000 yards between the two, isn't it? Passing yardage.
The Saints winning the Super Bowl.
You got what?
You got the Saints
winning the Super Bowl.
All right.
Wow.
That would be interesting, man.
I didn't expect that from
Brees
Keith
will be
Black
working
Jr.
for Fox.
I know you Pittsburgh guys, and the Pittsburgh guys got some loyalty to your neighborhood. But Dave, did you play Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I played in Pittsburgh for right about 6 years or so. Yeah, so I grew up a Steelers fan as well. So you guys sit here.
What position, Coach? What position?
Pardon me?
What position?
I was right field, left field. I was there my Barry Bonds last year was my first year.
Yes. Hey.
Yeah.
I remember
See,
before he was a pitcher.
No, no, I was a hitter, man.
No, I remember. Yes, I remember your time.
You on a team.
You wore number 35. Yeah,
I wore number 35. Yes.
I met you right outside the stadium.
Wow.
Stadium one time. Yeah.
Okay.
And disappeared in yours. But yeah,
you life goes full circle. That's what's up. So,
Yeah,
but Coach, you know what? I gotta say this. And all respect to you, Coach. The Pirates, I don't know what's going on with the organization. I mean, they had players like you coming through. They had Barry Bonds coming through. Before that, they had all-star players, like incredible talent was in Pittsburgh. I mean, I'm old enough where I can go back to like the days where I was watching Barry Bonds, and I can go back to Manny Sanguian, and I can go back to there was like
generations there.
Yes, I mean, but there was some crazy. That's what I'm saying. From that generation early to up to Barry Bonds at the time before Bonds left.
Right.
And I think that if Barry Bonds had been, and I didn't know him personally, if he had been maybe a little bit better with the media, he would have the utmost respect for the rest of his career, I believe. But the media wasn't good to him, so I'm not even going to go out there like that. It's like, people were mean to Barry. I mean, they were on him. I mean, Pittsburgh was kind of rough on him from a fan perspective. I don't know from a player's perspective, but I just think that he didn't get the just respect and due that he should have gotten to even later in his career. But that's interesting because you got to talk to us about playing. We're going to skip right over football. It's the end. Matter of fact, it's the end of the first quarter, and that's a good transition. We're going to end the first quarter there, and we're going to talk to Mr. David Clark about his playing days, and we're going to talk some HBCU baseball as well. It's Urban Media Today Talk Sports.
There was a guy in Food Lion pushing a shopping cart with one hand and using his other hand to hold his shirt over his mouth and nose because he didn't have a face cover. Now, he knew good and well before he left the house that he didn't have a mask, but his effort was so convincing. I mean, by all indications, working incredibly hard to practice one of the 3 W's. I couldn't be mad at him.
Urban Media Today Talk Sports. It's the second quarter, and we had some Mr. David Clark snuck up on us in there. Coach gave us some information we didn't even know. A former Pittsburgh Pirate right here, and we sitting here talking Pittsburgh. How could you talk Pittsburgh and not talk about the Pirates if you have a former Pittsburgh Pirate sitting right in your midst? So, Mr. Clark, do me a favor, introduce yourself to everyone, and then let's talk baseball.
Dave Clark, that's my name. I played in the big leagues for right about 14 years. I've been a big league coach for the last 15 years or so. Came out of Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi. HBCU, drafted number 1 by the Cleveland Indians back in 1983.
Wow, Cleveland Indians number 1 back in 1983. Taking me back. Taking me back.
Yeah.
Real quick, let's just jump right into it. I want to talk about HBCU baseball, definitely. Okay. But I want to talk about, let me get your opinion on something real quick. Baseball. I always say to the audience, and I say to the brothers on the show, I'm old enough to where I remember, like back in the day, Ebony Magazine used to have the baseball players, all the brothers, and whether they be Latino, I would say brown skin brothers were in the magazine. They had the lineups, and sometimes some of those lineups took 3 lines, and then you had times when you might have 1 or 2 brothers on the team, and then I used to look at that every year growing up, just to see who was playing in the big leagues. Mm-hmm. But as time is going on, even now, like if you would take Ebony from, I would say from the 70s to the 80s, maybe even to the 90s, and then even to now, you would not see the number of brothers in the league. What do you think happened?
Well, the system is kind of working against us now. Mm-hmm. And what has happened is, like, when I was growing up, you had your rec leagues, and then you played high school ball. Then you went ahead and played American Legion ball. Well, American Legion ball is obsolete now, and now it's more so travel baseball. And with travel baseball comes a cost. And for some reason, the African American community do not invest in their kids when it comes to baseball. Because if you think about it, a bat's going to cost you about $200 or $300. A pair of shoes are going to cost you probably about $150 or so. You got to get a glove. You got to get your batting gloves. You got to get all this stuff. It becomes an expensive sport, and then you start traveling, and then you got to accumulate hotel costs and all this and that, and then also you have to pay to play, to go along with it. So it gets to be a very, very expensive sport, unlike the other sports. And so now guys are more so, the African American guys are tending to go toward football and basketball, and a lot of it is because of the expense. But I tell you, man, it's the greatest sport in the world. It really is. Just from an athletic standpoint, as far as longevity as well. I mean, you play the game of baseball for a lot longer you can football and baseball on an average. And I really do hate that it's gotten to that point. But, you know, guys like myself and other brothers that are in the game are trying to get back and trying to get guys back into the game again.
Whatever happened to the days of picking up a stick and playing? I remember when I was growing up, we used to we'd find a field, didn't matter where the field was, and we'd just start playing. I mean, we would share gloves. I mean, and that's like nowadays, I don't know, it's just something changed. And I hear what you're saying about travel teams and things like that. But I can remember when before even travel teams, you know, started coming into existence. I mean, I just tried to figure out, what is it? I said it's because of the video games.
Well, you know what? You're exactly right. That definitely plays a part, because I'm the same way. Because, man, we played baseball every day during the summer. If you went to any park, you would see guys out playing baseball. But you got now guys are at home playing video games, and they rather do that and go outside and get exercise and learn the game of baseball.
They don't want to play in the minors neither. They don't want to take that route.
Say that again.
Yeah, but
They don't. A lot of kids, a lot of minorities don't want to take the minor league route. Like, they'd rather play football or basketball because it's faster. It's faster to get to the destination.
Well, I definitely agree with that, because we have a minor league. But you know what? Our game is so unique that, for me, I think it's the hardest game to play as well. And that's why you need that seasoning in the minor leagues. And that's why, you know, I'll tell anybody, if you get drafted out of high school, man, if the money is right, take the money and go play, because you know what? You get a head start on a lot of guys. Because if you think about the guys that are playing baseball in Latin America, those guys signed at age 15. And because of the labor laws here, our kids are not able to do that. And so they get a jump on us, man, and it hurts us. It hurts us here in the United States.
So let's talk about this day, because I'm in recruiting, and I always try to get your listeners and the audience to know a bit about the recruiting process. And coming from Tupelo, Mississippi, and having an opportunity to go to Jackson State, how did that recruiting process work? Was it like, did you want to stay home, or do you remember that process? Did your coach connect you?
Yeah, and Greg, the funny thing about that is that for me, I only played 2 years of high school baseball, and I really killed it too. And I thought maybe I was going to get a chance to get drafted out of high school, or I was going to have big colleges coming after me. And I only had one offer, and it was from a JUCO, believe it or not. And I wasn't going to go that route. I just made up my mind I'm not going to go that route. But I also had a backup plan where I was about to join the Marines, and I couldn't sign until I was 18 years old. And I didn't turn 18 until the fall. So I graduated from high school at 17. And it just so happened that Coach Bob Brady came up to see me play on a bet, and it's amazing. He came to see me play on a bet, signed me that day after the game. I had 2 weeks to get home, get my stuff together, and be on Jackson State's campus. And it just lets you know how the Lord works, man. I'm telling you.
Wow. Great story. So you've seen that process. A lot of parents and a lot of like stellar good athletes like yourself fall through the cracks. They don't have anybody to help them with exposure to colleges or the 17,000 college programs that are around the country that play competitive college baseball. So you not being seen and not having offers, and here you are playing. How many years you say again? Was it you played in the league?
I got a chance. I played 13 years in the big leagues.
13 years in the league.
Yeah.
How did you finish? Did you finish at Jackson State? Got your degree and all that?
I went back later. I got drafted as a junior.
Okay.
And of course, which gave me bargaining power.
Right.
They bought up my last year, so I ended up getting my degree a few years later.
Okay. Awesome. So when I'm talking to recruits and parents around the country that, baseball is a pro sport where you can actually go to college, go to a HBCU, go 3 years, be seen, and then get drafted. So there is a vehicle there that parents can learn about a lot more, right?
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And a lot of it has to do with the program you want to be a part of as well. And at that time, Jackson State was the powerhouse in the SWAC when it came to baseball. And that's where I really wanted to go. And I took advantage of it once I got there.
Okay. So
Coach, let me jump in for a second, Coach, real quick, because growing up, playing ball outside, coming inside, and the young ones now, they stay inside and don't play. Coach is from the era where we played outside. Coach is also from the era to whereas we didn't get recruited, as he stated. Someone came up to see him on a bet. Has that changed? And this is for both of you now. Has that changed as far as the recruiting process and the exposure for the young talent to latch on to after they're coming out of high school, to latch on to college teams and into the minor league teams? Has that process changed?
It has definitely changed. There are scouts and stuff all over the countries, and I'll never forget this. I was seen in high school and I never knew about it, and I was so happy that I didn't know about it, because you talk about a 15, 16-year-old kid. I don't know how I would have taken it, and for me, going to Jackson State was the best thing to happen to me, because I was not mature enough when I left high school to go out and start and become a pro at that particular time of my life. So it has changed. The exposure is there more so than it ever was before, because I was the first guy in my area to get drafted, and after me, we probably had about 5 or 6 more guys come out of there, because they was like, hey, if there's one, there's got to be 2. If there's 2, there's got to be 4 or 5. And so that area started getting scouted very highly.
How important was it? Did you have a coach or anything like that in your rec league that really helped you and mentored you? Who helped you with that process of, playing baseball? You probably were a good athlete, but how did you hone your skills? Who helped you with that?
Well, it was Greg. First of all, let me just give you guys this story. I come from a family of 15. Okay, 9 boys and 6 girls. Grew up on a farm. Okay, so it was my dad who played semi-pro baseball. His father played in the Negro League. So baseball was our sport. And you talk about 9 boys, man, we could fill a baseball team. And we had property where everybody came to our place to play baseball. So we started playing at a very, very young age. And then I got my brother Lewis, who was also a really good baseball player, who went on and played in the NFL for 7 years. So we had some pretty good athletes who come out of the family.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So you had a grandfather that played in the major leagues? Is that what you just said?
No, the
Did I hear that?
Negro Leagues.
I mean, in the Negro Leagues. I meant to say
yes,
Negro Leagues. I got excited.
Well, it's Major League Baseball now, so they're combine those stats. So we're good. You on point with that one, brother.
I'm trying to redeem myself here. But no, I mean, really, you just caught my attention because we had Sean Gibson on, 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. And we were talking about how the major leagues were finally giving the Negro Leagues the recognition and actually acknowledging that they were major leagues. Well, we already knew that they were major leagues way before that. So you had a grandfather.
Yes.
Did I get that right? Grandfather that played in the Negro Leagues.
Yes.
You got to talk about that, man. How was that? What was that experience like?
Well, I didn't get to see him play, of course. Because he didn't play very long because he ended up going and being in. I think he fought in World War II, got a Purple Heart and all that stuff. So it got cut short, and he got hurt while he was in the military. So he didn't get a chance to come back and play. But he's the one who helped us, got me interested in baseball.
Wow.
And 15, Coach, did you hear that? He said he came from a family of 15. I told you he overcame barriers earlier in life. I mean,
you better believe it, brother.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, I actually got a question to ask him, Dave. From your years with the Pirates, like I said, I grew up a Pirates fan, being in Pittsburgh. In addition, of course, the Steelers and the Panthers, and even as a youngster, my early 20s, I really watched those years very intently. The late 80s, early 90s. Remember when you came up? I remember called up in 92 in the 2 questions for you. Number one, what was it like? I mean, we obviously hear the legend of Jim Leland, and everybody that they speak very highly of him. What's your thoughts on him, and do you think he'll ever get into the Hall of Fame? And then number 2, what was it like in that 94 season to see everything come to a halt because of him?
Well, I'll start with the first question with Jim Leland. And Jim, I just left Jim, to be honest with you, with the Tigers. He left. He's been with the Tigers for the last 15 years or so. After he retired as a manager, he's one of the special assistants over there. So really? Jim and I are really good friends, and I owe him this right here, guys. He's the one who gave me an opportunity to resurrect my career. But I had to do my part as well. It wasn't just given to me. He gave me a chance to play, and I took advantage of it. But his personality, man, one of the best in-game managers I've ever been around. I mean, he was always 2 or 3 steps ahead of the other guy in the other dugout, and he treated us like men. That 25th man on the roster was just like Barry Bonds on the roster. I mean, we always give it the same amount of respect, and he was a people's person. He just knew how to get guys going. And I got to be honest with you, you would run through a brick wall for him because he definitely took care of you.
Awesome. Dave, let's talk about your personal life. You're married, your family, what you doing now? What you got going?
Well, right now,
hold up. I'm gonna hold you right there. I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna use that as a tease because we're gonna talk about Coach's personal life in just a second. And I'm calling him Coach because he's a major league coach. And Coach, did you coach at the college level too?
Nope,
just major leagues. Okay,
major
league coach, but he played at the college level. I'm gonna get that right. We'll be right back as Urban Media Today Talk Sports. We'll take a quick timeout and come right back.
Hey, let me get a timeout, a full one, because I need some help with the research project that I'm conducting. I want to take a look at Kawhi Leonard, a really nice forward for the Los Angeles Clippers, who took an early exit down there in the NBA bubble. And I also want to do a little study of Lamar Jackson, the reigning most valuable player of the National Football League. And so if you would help me out with this soul poll and let me know if you prefer Kawhi Leonard's cornrows and nice and neatly parted, going straight to the back, or do you prefer the even more natural look of Lamar Jackson's braids and just kind of flopping around and doing their own thing? Let me know when you reach out and touch me with a comment below. When you take the soul poll, is it Kawhi Leonard's cornrows or Lamar Jackson's braids? Let me know when you take the soul poll.
There it is. They're not gonna rook us.
No.
Take that for data.
Soul poll.
Urban Media Today talks sports. We got Ray Porter Jr., got Coach William Greg Hoy Jr. playing for envelopes, and we got my man Keith Platt Jr., and we have Dave Clark. You're not a junior, correct?
I'm not a junior.
Good job. Okay, we have Dave.
You'll be on this show, though. It's okay. It really is.
Former major league player and now a major league coach in the major leagues, doing big things. We're about to get into your personal life. And Coach, you don't have to tell us anything. You don't even have to give us no secrets or anything like that. But tell us about what's going on, because Coach Hoyt asked first. So let's go.
Well, yeah, I want to let the viewers know, like, because again, human capital is important. There's parents. Listen, so talk about your family and how long you've been married and playing baseball, being a family guy. Talk about that.
Yeah, man. I married. This will be going on my 37th year of marriage this coming November. Married my high school sweetheart, who ended up going to Jackson State with me. We have two beautiful daughters. My oldest daughter got married about 5-6 years ago. She lives in Nashville. And my youngest daughter just moved back here. She's the digital marketing director for St. Jude Hospital. So she's doing pretty good herself. And mama she takes care of me. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, happily married for 30 plus years. Retired as a player in 1999 and did the craziest thing ever. I had gone back to school, but then I got a call to get into coaching. And I was like, no way am I going to do this. I'm ready to just get on with life, get baseball out of my system. But even prior to that, I got a chance to, I thought I had an opportunity to get into front office with the Oakland Athletics, to be honest with you. But we were waiting on a potential buyer to buy them, and it did not happen. So in that regard, that's what got me into coaching. After that that didn't come through. So I started coaching in 2000 and been doing it ever since.
Wow. So I always see, you're always kind of the meme on the internet, on social media, the guy that gets hit in third base with the ball. You're always getting tagged with the ball. There's always some kind of fun. What's your thoughts on that? It seems like everybody always like the butt of the jokes.
Well, I tell you what, guys used to always get on me, and then the umpires started to get on me too, about being so far up the line. I'm like, man, I'm agile, I'm an athlete, I can get out of the way of the ball, but every now and again that ball will find me. But I like being closer to the hitter, away from the base, so I can see everything that goes on if the ball is hitting the outfield. So, I'm very aggressive, and sometimes I just get in the way of the baseball every now and again.
Yeah, they show that over and over. If you look at Major League Network, Major League Baseball Network, they're always showing you getting hit by a ball and things of that nature. So it's kind of an action thing. So let's talk about and Trev, if I could take over from here, if we could talk about the new thing you're doing with Icy, okay? Talk a little bit about you're giving back to the community. You're trying to work some things, Hank Aaron, stuff like that. Some things that you're trying to revitalize. the African American experience, or we're trying to create a pipeline of African Americans, Black males in America to play baseball. Talk a little bit about that and the foundation that you guys are working with.
Yeah, we're about to launch the Hank Aaron Baseball Academy in Jackson, Mississippi. We're going to be dealing with inner city youth. That's what IC stands for. ICU. That's what it stands for. What we came to realize that there's about 15 schools in the city of Jackson that does not have a baseball field. They're playing at city parks and things of that nature. So what we have in place is we have a stadium that's already there. We've started to renovate it. And so we're gonna have a place for guys to play, and we're gonna build 10 more fields. So it's gonna be for the city of Jackson. It's also gonna be for travel leagues, but we're gonna make it to where you're not traveling. Everything's gonna take place right there in our complex. So teams will come in there and just play. But Hank Aaron was kind enough to lend us his name, and he's a big part of it, along with Dusty Baker and Ozzie Smith, to name a few. But we're going to get this thing kicked off probably around about the 1st of February. But I think it's going to be very, very good. It's going to be very sound. And we're just giving back, man. We're trying to get African Americans back in the game of baseball, and we're going to make it easy for them.
Wow. Awesome. That's exciting to know. So let's talk about some of the things that some of the young baseball athletes can start working on. I mean, you're developing a place that they can land with this IC Aaron program. What could some of the athletes start doing now? The youngins that that if they don't have the expensive this or expensive that, they can't travel. What are some of the things they can work on right now?
Well, you know what? They could do what we did when we were growing up, man. You just make up things for it to work on. You're an athlete. We used to just make up games. We get out there, we would play games if it was just the two of us. We just got to get them active. We got to get their mind to the point, get them thinking about playing this game of baseball any way possible. And it starts there. It starts with the mind, and then their willingness to want to get out and do it. But we're gonna. And sometimes they just waiting on us to reach them, and that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna go reach them. If they don't want to, if they don't have the initiative, we're gonna find out if we can reach them. If we can reach them, we can teach them.
Right. So the old school games like pickle, those be good games to work on.
No,
right?
No doubt about it. Strike out, whatever you got to do. Go up against the wall, get a rubber ball. Heck, we used to swing with a broomstick. It didn't matter what we swung with, just as long as we were able to work on our hand-eye coordination.
Yeah. What's some hand-eye coordination things that some of the young athletes that are listening, some of the parents are listening, what they can work on right now?
Well, you know what? For me, the best drill in baseball is hitting off the tee and doing it the right way. A lot of guys just get up there and they just start swinging. They don't even take in consideration, okay, there's an imaginary guy out there who's throwing the baseball. So I want to be able to track that baseball with my eyes and my hands. And then get myself in a position to hit the ball. Because, and this is what I learned when I got into pro baseball, even in college baseball, is picking up the release point from the pitcher and just tracking the baseball. And you track the baseball with your eyes, you track the baseball with your hand, allow the ball to get into the hitting zone, and you take your whack at it.
Wow, that's awesome. Awesome, Trev. How we doing on the quarter, Trev? We ready for the next?
We're good. I'm like, Coach got me excited because I'm thinking, Coach, did you ever, and I know you did, I remember back in the day when we would go out and play, and it was maybe two of us, like you said, one would be the pitcher and one would be the batter. We would draw the strike zone on the wall, and with the rubber ball, you had the batter standing there, and the pitcher's throwing it as hard as he can at the batter. Mind you, there's a brick wall behind you, and you're about to swing it back, and you got this ball. So there's nowhere to go. Did you ever do that, Coach? Did you ever play ball that way?
Of course, but we didn't have a brick wall. We didn't have a brick wall. We had a barn.
Well, there you go. So
yeah,
I mean,
a big circle driven on the drawn on the barn, and that was our strike zone.
Right, and see, people, the reason I laugh is because even when I was playing, people don't think about it, but when the ball bounces off the barn from behind you or the wall behind you, it can come back and hit you in the back of the head. It's
absolutely.
Okay.
Hey, let me tell y'all what I did, though. When I played with my crew in the backyard, I would grab my mother's flower and make baselines. I would drive her.
Oh, wow.
With that. She was like, what happened to all my flower? I'm like, I wanted to make my feelings authentic as possible.
Well, brother, it was 15 of us, so we weren't wasting a flower. I can tell you that. Right?
Yeah, well, let's just say it only happened one time, but it made it make it feel pretty good. But I enjoyed it.
I hear you. I hear you.
So, real quick, Coach, a couple of questions. Now, with 15 of you, did you ever form your own baseball team? Were your siblings close enough in age where you guys could actually play as a team at any given time? And then if you did, how much support? I guess when you guys were going to high school, how did you support each other? Like, how much support would you guys get from each other?
Well, we were all very, very close, and it was always easy for us to play together because my dad was coaching us, you know. So it was probably the most we probably had together was probably six of us on one team. And we all started, of course, and if Pop's coaching, you know we're gonna start. So and he just
wait a minute. That's 6 out of 9 that's on the field.
Oh yeah. The whole infield was us.
Who's the best, Dave? Who's the best?
Really and truly, my brother Lewis. He really was. He was the best athlete in the family, and he chose football. But yeah, he was the best. And if you ask him that, he'll probably say I was. But I'm being honest with you. He was the best.
As far as baseball, wow.
But just let our viewers know what's Lewis doing now.
Lewis is he's the senior player personnel director with the LA Chargers.
Right. Wow. Good.
Congrats. Good stuff.
Awesome. So family doing big things from Tupelo, Mississippi to you know, they call that high cotton back in the day.
That's right.
There you go. Take the words right out of my mouth. I gotta ask, Coach. I see 8 baseballs behind you, above your head. Any one of them special, or all of them special? The significance.
Well, they're all special. They're all special. I most of them are teammates. There's a few Hall of Famers up there that I played with. I was never that guy who collect a lot of things, but some are team balls, playoff balls, and stuff like that. But I have a few that's individualized. Yeah.
Any highlight during your playing days, and then even highlight during your coaching days, or could there be one and the same?
Probably my first home run. My first home run in the big leagues. I got it 3 days after I got called up. I got called up on my birthday. That was the biggest highlight, I guess, of my career. I got a chance to start on my birthday, and I got to hit my third at bat. Got a chance to face Nolan Ryan, hit a home run off Nolan Ryan.
What?
Yeah, wow. And quite a few things has happened in my career. That was pretty good. A few walk-off home runs, a few big hits in the playoff, things like that. But I don't like to talk about me, man. I really don't.
Hey, look.
Yeah, Coach, I was going to say, that's why Lewis would say, yes, Dave was the better athlete, because Dave's not going to say it himself. He's like, oh, yeah, I faced Nolan Ryan. I hit a home run off Nolan Ryan. And for millennials, if you don't know who Nolan Ryan is and why I'm shivering over here when the coach says that, it's because Google it. That's what I'm going to say. Google it.
You don't know who Nolan Ryan is. Dave, I remember y'all used 3 over stadium as a tee. Y'all hit some levels.
Oh yeah. It was fun playing there, man. I used to love that place.
Wow.
So let's talk about I want to talk about this trade before we go to the next segment here. So let's talk about the growth of the money packages in Major League Baseball. Of course, you've seen the uptick, right? The swell of contracts, guaranteed contracts, things of that nature. Is there? I mean, what's the difference in a guaranteed contract now than maybe a contract you had when you were playing?
Well, the guaranteed is guaranteed. It was always that way in baseball. There's only a handful of football contracts that are guaranteed. That's why of course, you guys know that they get the signing bonus to get a lot of money up front. Right. They could get cut. They could get cut the next week or so. They got the money, but the contract is voided. But in baseball, you start the season opening day, first day of the season, your money is guaranteed, regardless of what happens. Wow. And if you look at it now, I tell you this, guys. I got to the big leagues in 1986. The minimum salary I think was like $62,500. Right now, it's close to $600,000. Yeah. Not bad for a rookie.
Not bad for
Man, give me all that.
But it's a grind to get there, though, right? I mean, there's a lot of
yes, it is, Greg. Yes. I mean, I got there fairly quick because I was a college guy and I was put on the fast track. And I went right to A-ball, and I was 83. I was in the big leagues in 86. So I got there quick, but I had to do what I had to do. I put up big numbers to get there, and I was able to stay by putting up some pretty good numbers. But you're definitely right. It's definitely a grind, man. You talk about riding the bus 15, 16 hours. in the middle of the night after you played, and you get there the next day at 2 o'clock 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and you got a game the next day at noon. So it was, we did that quite a bit too, staying in crappy hotels.
That's why them kids don't want to play in minor league baseball. See what I'm saying?
Hey, brother, I'll tell you this right now, it ain't nothing like that. I mean, the stadiums are state of the art. You got sleeper buses. The travel is not that long. And as a matter of fact, Major League Baseball has taken over the minor leagues now, and they're going to cut the travel in half. I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot better in that regard as far as the grind, as far as the travel and stuff like that. But it still doesn't make it any easier to get there because it's not. It's not. Wow. It's tough. I mean, you think about it. You send a 17-year-old kid out in the world playing against grown men. He's got to learn not only he barely start wiping the milk off his face, and he's got to learn how to go out and get him an apartment, learn how to cook for himself and this and that, So.
Wow, good stuff. We got Dave Clark is our special guest today, and I gotta ask him this. We're gonna take a break. It's the end of the third quarter, coming up on the final quarter. Gotta ask Coach about the HBCU experience, because I thought I heard Coach say he met his high school sweetheart ended up going to Jackson State with him. HBCU Experience sounds like it was good to you, Coach. We're gonna come right back into this timeout. We'll get into that in just a second. It's Urban Media Today Talk Sports.
Do you ever find yourself wondering if the time you spend filing taxes could be utilized in a more efficient way? No wonder time is considered a luxury in the modern consumerist society. In these circumstances, outsourcing or utilizing professional help becomes a more prudent approach, instead of rushing through the filing and making a mistake. With our services at www.rsgaccountingservices.com, there is no need to panic. Our professional staff will be at your disposal, meticulously helping you with all your tax filings from local, state, to federal taxes and answering all your questions, all at an affordable price. So don't waste any time and head on over to www.rsgaccountingservices.com right now.
It's Urban Media Today Talk Sports. Trevin A. Joe. Oh, fellas, almost did it again. Got Ray Porter Jr., Coach William Gray Hoy Jr., Keith Flatt Jr., and a brother that's not a junior. Thank you, Coach Dave Clark. But he is a major leaguer, and he's a coach, and he's done big things. Jackson State, Mississippi. Got that right. Hey, wait a minute. Before I even get into that, Coach, because I want to ask you about the HBCU experience. JS, you got a phenomenal coach taking over the football program. How do you feel about that as an alum?
Well, you know what? I'm excited. He's going to do a lot of great things down there. He's made some changes already, and it's been a while since Jackson State football program has been, has really done anything. And I think Prime is going to do a great job. And if you look at the recruits he's bringing in, if they can play, I think we're going to have a chance of doing some really good things down there. But the whole city is excited, the school is excited, and they locked them up for 3 years, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he already got his sons coming down there, turning down other schools and coming to play for dad at JSU.
Yeah. Matter of fact, he got both sons down there now.
Exactly. That's what I was talking about. So that's kind of crazy. So, Coach, talk about the HBCU experience for you. I know you're coming through at a different time. Not so much different, though. But talk about the draw, the vibe you got to feel, the family you felt while you were there.
Well, it's the thing about it too is that I still have that. I still get that feeling when I'm on that campus. Just the HBC experience for me was like nothing else, no other. I got a chance to grow up. I got a chance to become a man, being under the tutelage of Robert Brady, and man, just to be around people that look like us. And experience that that stigma of not intelligent, we're not this, we're not that. I'm like, you know what, that is totally wrong, man, totally wrong. And so when I got down there, and I absolutely loved it. I got my grades, I did all this and that, honor student, all that stuff, but it was a second to none. I tell you, like I said, I became a man on Jackson State campus.
Wow. And that's the reason I even bring that up too, is because when you talk about the HBCU experience and you talk about baseball, a lot of good athletes came through baseball programs at HBCUs, and a lot of people don't know that. They don't realize that some great talent has come through the baseball teams at like Jackson State. I mean, when you think
about it. Yeah, no doubt about it. I had an interview probably a couple of weeks ago, and I was telling the reporter that same thing. I said, man, in 1990, Jackson State had six Major League Baseball players, six, and that was unheard of.
Wow.
That was actually unheard. There were six of us in the big leagues in 1990, and man, it was amazing. And all of us was there. I was there with Orcan Boyd. I was there with Marvin Freeman at Jackson State. But there was a couple of guys, and Curtis Ford, a couple of guys that I didn't get a chance to play with that came after me because I had 3 years in the big leagues at that time. But yeah, man, that was awesome. And trust me, we made sure we let the world knew about that.
And I was going to ask you that because did you guys get a chance to reach out to each other? And because that bond from the HBCU experience, it transcends college life, even as adults. Because you mentioned your wife is a JSU alum, is that correct?
Yes, exactly right.
Did you force any of the young ones to go to an HBCU, or did they go their own separate ways?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Did you force any of the young ones, any of your children, to go to the HBCU, or did they go to other schools?
It was all on them. My oldest daughter ended up going to the University of Mississippi, and my youngest went to the University of Memphis. But no, it was their choice. They had choice. They had choices to go anywhere they wanted to in the country, but they chose those two places that was local, and I was pretty excited. My wallet wasn't hit that hard. But it was, but I was excited about them doing their thing and graduating. But yeah, they really never showed a lot of interest in going there. But me and the mom did, and so we have the experience and we share it with them all the time.
You mentioned Ole Miss. I was gonna throw it over to you, Coach. Go ahead.
Yeah. I know your daughter went to Ole Miss, so I'm an Ole Miss alum. So we got to definitely give her a pound, a virtual pound.
That's right.
So getting back to the HBCU experience in Jackson with the Hank Aaron kind of initiative you have running, I know that the HBCUs, they've committed to come play their games there also, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's
so
exactly right.
That you guys are building. They're going to be playing the baseball games right there, right?
Yeah, we're going to host the SWAC tournament this year, and I'm very, very excited about that. Just to get the notoriety, and it's going to be televised on ESPN. And I think we may even have a contract with the Baseball Network. I'm not really sure yet. I'll let you know about that in a couple of weeks or so. But yeah, Jackson State is going to play some of their home games there as well. So is Tougaloo College, and I think there's a smaller school, I think it's Belhaven College, is going to play some of their home games there as well. But yes, we will definitely host the SWAC tournament this year.
Yeah, so that's going to be a landing spot for a lot of media, a lot of people to come to town. I mean, you got Dion in town. There's a lot of things going on in Jackson, Mississippi, right? I'm pretty excited about that. I mean, I'm in recruiting, so I'm definitely pumping that information that you've given me. To a lot of these athletes that I know, hey, there's an opportunity to play, whether it's at Gremlin, whether it's at Alcorn, whether it's at, Bethune-Cookman, there's some good things happening at HBCU baseball that I'm excited about. And hopefully that gives our African-American athletes an opportunity to say, hey, there is an option. I don't have to necessarily choose football. Nothing wrong with that. But I can also go to Texas State. I can also go to Alabama State, and I can go play baseball in this market that's swelling. I really think that what you guys are doing is allowing baseball and HBCUs to swell. They needed this. This is a great landing spot. And then using the branding of Hank Aaron, this is awesome. This is an awesome podcast today. I hope the listeners see the value in this. This is exciting times.
That is very exciting. As we wrap up the game in the fourth quarter, Coach Clark, what we do is we go around the room and we talk about something that was heavy on our minds, on our hearts, or something that impressed us throughout the week. It could be sports related. It doesn't have to be. So we're going to start with Ray Porter Jr. so you can see how it goes. We'll go to Keith Platt Jr. and then Coach Hoyt, and then Coach Clark will come back to you and wrap it up. Ray, what you got for me, man?
Well, just thinking about what all took place pretty much the past 7 days, I think about the basketball world in NBA and just the whole story around James Harden. And I always knew just really how his disposition really was with the Rockets when he came in and held out. I was hoping they would just do the right move, and they just, they just both sides didn't get along. So it was just time to cut their losses and trade them, and they finally did to the Brooklyn Nets. So to see how the Rockets are going to be with John Wall and with DeMarcus Cousins and that crew, and then to see how Harden's going to be with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and that crew. So it'll be interesting, but sometimes you just have to, admit, I can't even say the word when you can't reconcile, you have the differences, but it happens. It's part of life, and I'm glad they made the smart move for both sides.
The interesting thing about that, though, man, real quick, is wasn't he was part of the treacherous three when you had Westbrook, you had Harden, and you had Durant. Mm-hmm. So then Westbrook and Harden teamed up.
Right.
Okay. Now he's going to be with Durant. It was three of them on one team at one time. So now they're on
the White House. That's kind of never win nothing.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Keith Flat Jr., what you got, man?
I'm gonna piggyback off of Ray Porter Jr., man. As far as the NBA go, I've been watching a lot of NBA, man, and I'm telling y'all now, LaMelo Ball will win Rookie of the Year. The kid is box office. His court vision is unreal. He's the leading rebounder for his team. You know what I'm saying? His teammates love him. He's got to work on his jump shot. But this dude is the truth, man. Yeah. Yes, I'll get your popcorn ready because he's coming. He's coming fast. LaMelo Ball, man. Rookie of the Year.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hold you to that one. Coach William Greg Hoyd Jr. Playing for envelopes. What you got, Coach?
Man, what's up? Keep fired up, man. Keep going. I'm writing down this day for that one. LaMelo Ball. Got to make sure that. Got to make sure I write this one down today. That's pretty dope. But hey, man, I'm just excited. This is a great time for HBCU sports. We got Dave Clark on here, HBCU alum. I see some good things happening at HBCU baseball. We had the SWAC Media Day was going on today. We see Dion, and everybody, it's the fire right now, they're all eyes. Everybody got to be on deck right now. There's a lot of moxie, coaching moxie going around right now. Guys are trying to downplay it. They're not really worried about Dion coming to the SWAC, but man, it's exciting. Dion has 10 transfers through the portal that have come to his campus. This is incredible. I'm awesome. I'm blessed because I actually had one of my recruits sign, a defensive lineman out of California, sign with Dion. He started school this past week, so it was awesome to see his dad drop his son off and had that experience. And then shifting over to the Power 5 conference, the college football playoffs, I had a player came to my service out of Ohio State, Court Williams. And then I had an offensive lineman from Alabama who actually won, Tommy Brown. So it's been like a football great weekend for me because I've had players at all levels, and then I've had clients that have come to my service. Again, I help with college recruiting around the country. So this has been a great time. So a lot of sports going on, and I'm excited about the country kind of having a little bit of a release after everything is kind of going on this past week before.
And Coach Clark, our special guest, Dave Clark, I'm gonna leave it with you, Coach. What you got?
First of all, I'm going to be really, really excited to see the Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl again. So I know someone has already picked the
just say Kansas City.
But no, I'm just saying. You know what, guys? I'm just. You think about what happened last Wednesday. You think about the difference in the culture, the difference in the skin pigmentation, the difference in how things were done and how they were handled. And it just takes you back, man, to know that, there's a different set of rules. And even when, we get the upper hand, the rules have changed again, and they're always changing. And it's just I'm just hoping and praying that, it's going to get to the point where it doesn't have to be that way. Judge me, judge me by the contact of my character, not my color of my skin. That's what I'm hoping for, and I think the world will be a better place if everybody can get on board with that and keep God first, of course.
Saying that, Coach Clark, it was great having you on the show. Coach William Hoyd Jr. is always Greg Hoyd Jr. It's always a pleasure having you playing for envelopes. Ray Porter Jr., Keith Platt. It's Urban Media Today Talk Sports. Have a great weekend.
Urban Media Today talks sports every week on Urban Media Today Radio, where you can listen in on free music and podcasts on our SoundCloud station at Urban Media Today. And for more information, log on to urbanmediatoday.com, your lifestyle, entertainment, and sports blog website.
What type of games being played? How's it doing that? I get up, all right?